The sun was barely peeking over the horizon, painting my 30-acre ranch in soft gold, when the chaos started. I'm Ethan Carter, a 41-year-old retired firefighter from Phoenix who traded city sirens for the quiet of northern Arizona. My plan was simple: raise horses, sip coffee on my porch, and let my two dogs, Rusty and Luna, keep me company. No wife, no kids, just wide-open land and peace. Or so I thought. Trouble came knocking in the form of Linda Harper, a bleach-blonde, mid-50s whirlwind who called herself the president of the so-called Meadowview HOA, a fancy name for a Facebook group and a handful of bored neighbors pretending to run the subby VY Shown next to my ranch. It all began a couple of years ago when Linda rolled into Meadowview, her white SUV gleaming, high heels sinking into the dirt. She waved like we were old pals, even dropped off some brownies I didn't touch. Things were CIVYL until she asked to borrow water from my private well for her koi pond during a drought. I said no politely. Her smile vanished. Next thing I know, she's VYing printouts from some sketchy website, claiming she had legal rights to my water. I laughed, told her to call my lawyer, and figured that was the end of it. Big mistake. Linda started acting like my ranch was her personal playground. She'd stroll across my land, poking in my irrigation lines, muttering about community resources. I'd had enough. I put up security cameras and a sturdier gate. Then I found Eat a Sneaky hose snaking under my fence, tapped into an old spigot I hadn't used in years. Linda had been siphoning my water to keep her lawn green. My water, my vel, my lant. I shut off the valve and capped it, thinking that'd settle things. Nope. The next morning, at 7:03 a.m., Linda was at my gate, screaming like I'd stolen her soul. "You cut off my water. I have rights," she shrieked, pointing at my water meter like it was a holy relic. "We don't share land, Linda," I said, calm as I could. "Your house is over that fence." She went red, dialed 911, and put on a performance Meryl Streep couldn't touch. "He's tampering with utilities and threatened me with a wrench," she cried in her phone. By the time two sheriff's cars rolled up, lights flashing, she was sobbing, claiming elder abuse and frogs in distress. My neighbors, clutching coffee mugs, watched from the sidelines, jaws dropped. The deputy wasn't buying it. "Sir, this is your property," he said. "Her house isn't even connected to your well." Linda stomped her flip-flop. "He assaulted me." I blinked. Assault? I hadn't moved. Then she lunged through the gate, tripped, and slammed her knee into the metal rail. She hit the gravel, wailing like a banshee. "My leg. He broke it." The sheriff sighed. "Ma'am, you hit the gate. Nobody touched you." My cameras caught it all, and Linda's eyes widened when I mentioned the footage. She hobbled to her minivan, muttering about her brother, a lawyer, suing me for water-sharing violations. I knew this wasn't over. That night, as I tossed hay to my horses, my phone buzzed. "Mr. Carter, this is Greg Harper, attorney from Meadowview HOA, and my client, Linda," a slick voice said. I laughed. "Let me guess, you're her brother." Silence. "Yes. Restore the water by morning, or we'll file an injunction." I stared at my fields, the stars bright overhead. "See you in court, Greg." But Linda didn't wait for court. At dawn, a backhoe roared on my land, VYing a trench near the capped water line. Linda, in a robe and sun hat, waved a clipboard like a general. The operator shrugged. She said she owns this strip and show me a document. I stormed over. "That's a Home Depot receipt taped to a Google Earth printout." Linda screamed about emergency ordinances. The sheriff arrived, rubbing his temples. The trench had nicked an old electrical conduit, sparking and smoking. I backed away, heart pounding, as the fire crew raced in. $3,000 later, I fixed the damage and added more cameras. Then, at 2:41 a.m., my phone pinged. Motion alert. There was Linda, in a hoodie, digging by my barn with a spoon, muttering about rerouting her plumbing to my well. I called the sheriff. They caught her red-handed, crowbar in hand, prying at my water meter. "You forced me," she shrieked as they cuffed her. "You cut off my line." The deputy just shook his head. Days later, a letter arrived from the Meadowview Neighborhood Council, demanding a public hearing on my ranch about my well. No signature, just a cheesy logo. I called my lawyer, Tom, who laughed. They can't do that. It's your land. I grinned. Let's host it my way. I mowed a field, set up chairs, and rigged a projector. When Linda arrived, in a pantsuit and headset like she was Oprah, I played the footage, her sneaking over my fence, ordering the backhoe, line a 911. The crowd gasped. Her brother, Greg, froze. Linda snapped, smashing the projector. Sparks flew, her clipboard caught fire, and she rolled in the dirt, screaming about her hair. The sheriff cuffed her for destruction of property. It got crazier. Child Protective Sarah VYCES showed up, claiming I was hiding kids in my barn without water. A fake tip, courtesy of Linda. I showed them every inch of my ranch, no kids, just hay and horses. Then I dug deeper. My buddy at the county office found Linda's schemes. Fake noise complaints, a bogus lien on my land, even a grant application using my well to fund her HOA. She wanted my ranch, all 30 acres, to rezone or control. Her brother? Disbarred for forgery. The HOA? Just a Facebook group. One night, Linda tried again, prying at my meter with a crowbar. I caught her on camera, and the sheriff hauled her off. Then came the arson. A brush pile by my fence went up in flames, reeking of kerosene. My drone caught a hooded figure in a Meadow View HOA hoodie. The sheriff raided 2 houses, nabbing Greg and a guy named Paul, Linda's lackey. They had maps, forged permits, and a plan to scare me into selling. Linda faced fraud, trespassing, and arson charges. Greg? Federal prison. The HOA vanished. Weeks later, my neighbors, led by sweet old Nancy, brought muffins and an apology. "We believe her lies," Nancy said. I smiled, feeling peace for the first time in months. My horses grazed, my dogs slept easy, and my land was mine. But then, one morning, an envelope arrived. No return address. Inside, a typed note. "This land isn't yours. Sleep with one eye open. The HOA president." I gripped it, staring at my fields. Linda was locked up, but someone was still out there. This wasn't over. What do you think? Was Ethan too harsh? But did Linda deserve worse? Could the neighbors have stopped her sooner? Or were they just scared? Who's behind that letter, Greg, Paul, or someone new? Drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe to see where this wild ride goes next. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.